So, hello and welcome. This is Erica Glessing, and you are joining us on the Creating Business Beyond This Reality Summit. And my next guest is so beautiful. Her name is Beth Segaloff. She's a licensed master of social work. I never quite know how to say it, but Reiki or Reiki master. She's a yoga
Right,
teacher. Reiki. Yeah, Reiki
Reiki.
master. She has a lot of wonderful backgrounds: yoga, access consciousness bars, and facilitation of empowerment workshops. And, before we got on the call today, just to put it in perspective for everyone, we're both having a really challenging day. So we're both kind of like authentically going through a lot. So if you're tuning into a vibration, but this is really like the real thing, like when you're running your business and you're being your truth, it's not always just pure sunshine and roses. So welcome, Beth. It's really good to have you here.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your office and teaching yoga and what got you into yoga. Tell me a little bit about yoga.
So about you. Well, I actually started my yoga practice probably my early 20s, but at that time it was mostly a physical practice. I felt like it was almost kind of like a competitive, not competitive yoga, but it was more strengthening and physical. And I was in a place of my life when things were a little bit more type A, and I needed to be things in a little bit of a controlling sense. And and then I dabbled in other types of yoga, and there's a little bit more softening. And about 5 years ago, I really started to delve into yoga in a different way. Um, I was I was kind of using my yoga practice as flexibility and strengthening, a little bit of a sprinkle on top to my running, which I tend to do competitively. And but what ended up happening is I just kept showing up and slowing down and slowing down and slowing down. And my body had been in so much of a fight or flight place for a long time. And yoga allowed a space for me to really just feel and allow everything to show up. And it was, there were lots of tears on the yoga mat. There were times where even I just wouldn't even practice and just lay down and sob. But there was a release that I always felt afterwards. And there was a touch of connecting in a spiritual way as well. And so I just decided that that was something that I wanted to learn how to teach. And so that's a quick summary of just what yoga is, or what my yoga practice is to me now. And actually, to just move through as well, in the past, I also received my training in for kids yoga, which is very different than adult yoga, but it's an amazing, such a fun practice to share with kids. And I've got little 3-year-olds where, you ring the chime and they place one hand on their belly and one hand on their heart. They take a big deep breath in, and it's all play based. So to watch children show up exactly as they are with no judgment, and just to allow anything in and just to show up and to get it in their bodies of how to calm themselves down and how to manage anything that may show up for them. So it's been a
Yeah.
real gift.
One of the things that came out when you were talking about that was where the like type A control,
Mm-hmm.
like who I was in college, like very competitive. I needed to be in the 99th percentile, like everything had to be perfect. And then as I shifted and I was in a newsroom and I was like the A reporter, so I would get like the front page, all over the front page. How would you sort of characterize that shift when you are choosing to be more heart based, or like when you were saying, like slowing things down and giving them space to evolve differently than just like that push A energy. Maybe share your, that just kind of came up for me
Yeah,
to ask you about that, because it seems like something you could really bring light to for us.
sure. So when you think about yourself, let's say in a yoga posture, or even just let's say sitting at your desk, which is also a yoga posture, right? So we're here sitting at our desks, and if you notice, what your shoulders are doing, what your neck may be doing, and if you notice that tension in your body where you feel everything sort of like really wrapped in tight, and it's almost hard to breathe, and things feel very constricted. And I know that in my own experience, again, when life gets like that, very constricted, very closed, and just moving from one thing to the next very quickly and with a lot of stress and reaction. And to shift that then over to a yoga posture, let's say, or even when you're sitting and you really relax your shoulders and you imagine literally the light of your heart just shining out, and there's a softness to how you sit and a softness to your breath, then it just allows so much more space to settle in. And I know for me, my entire belief system, my thoughts, my emotions just weave through in such a different way, rather than that, like, it has to be this way, this way, this way, this way, and from a constricted place. So practicing, even when I think about, let's say we're in a twist and you're trying to get deeper and further, or in any posture, or you're grasping to get somewhere different, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to, we're just grasping on really tight. So when we let go and open up our hearts and just settle into exactly where we are, that to me is just being present, and that shifting from more of an open heart into more space. Oh, Eric, I can't hear you now.
Sorry about that. So, tell me a little bit about some daily practices that our listening entrepreneurs can engage in to kind of grow their businesses using different tools that might be just your everyday practical go get leads, follow them up, go to a networking meeting, things that kind of like, and not that any of those things are wrong, but
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about, you can just leap off from there, that expansion energy you were talking about, like how that might take its pathway into growing your business.
So I think one thing that I've been doing a lot of is just noticing and observing who and what is around me. And I've been in deeper prayer and deeper meditation, taking time every day to quiet my mind, taking time to connect and pay attention to my breathing and ask what needs to be revealed. And then as I walk through my day, again, rather than me saying like, okay, and don't get me wrong, I need that structure, and I'm creating a balance between the structure and the flow of things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like to have a structure of what I'm going to do. At the same time, I leave an openness and a flexibility to just notice what comes across my day, and and where I'm guided to. Maybe it's a certain email or a certain blog or a certain course, and so that's something that having a balance between flexible and structured. But again, I think really tuning in and aligning to who I want to serve is where I start.
That's beautiful. I love it. So,
And just sorry, just to add to that, but the only way that I get there is through my own healing. So the more that I heal myself, the more I know align with myself, and
uh-huh.
then how I want to serve other people.
Okay, perfect. If there was something that, like, let's say you had I don't know, let's say you had a room full of, say, 12 hungry listeners, and they were just like eager to say, like, Beth, how have you done it in your local community? Because for me, I build a lot of my business online. And
Mm-hmm.
so I have a lot of people like all over the globe. And you've done some interesting work where you have kids come in. You work with your local community.
Mm-hmm.
What can you share with our entrepreneurs who would like to also kind of grow that connection with the local community?
So one way I grow with again, it's really just talking to people, and I find that I just try and share what I love to do. I just talk about, it's interesting. Whenever I end a yoga class, I say thank you for sharing yoga with me,
Nice.
or it's me just sharing what I love to do. So I have an opportunity. I teach yoga at the university here in my hometown. I see clients privately, in my office here, and I'm working in a nursery school this year for kids yoga. And again, just reaching out to people who I feel like I want to serve and who want to connect. So it's
I
just
love it.
putting myself out there and just sharing what I love to do.
When I was in real estate, and I just loved having real estate conversations. Like, I love seeing unusual houses.
Yeah.
Like, I really did. Like, I really liked like strange updates or completely one time I remember I went to this little condo, and there's every other condo was exactly like it.
Hmm.
And so I was doing a broker tour. So I go into this local condo, and they had a sauna on their deck. They had built into the closet of the deck a complete wooden sauna. And so can you imagine, like, you get
I
home
would
or
go
something?
there.
I know. And then right out that had a view of the pool. So you could like sauna, shower,
Hmm.
pool. Like, the way they built it was so clever, and yet also fun. Like, it was fun.
Hmm.
Like, it was really beautiful wood and everything. And I remember just feeling lit up by that. And it was that genuine, like, excitement about what I did
Yeah.
that worked. It was just, even though it was a field, real estate, and I'd been a writer my whole life, but I
Hmm.
just remember being that like genuine enthusiasm and genuine energy. It was um when it's real like that, that's what I'm hearing from you too, is when you're in alignment with your true, what you really enjoy doing, what you really love. It's like it's almost an unstoppable energy.
Well, it's doing things that bring me joy, and that's serving other people. And so, but it's interesting. Even you were asking again originally about the local community. I remember the first year that I kind of opened my doors. Um, I I would talk to anybody who would listen. Really, what are you doing? And I would just share with them what I used to do this and now I'm doing this, but just sharing what I love to do. And so I think it's getting out there and just kind of hustling too. But I feel like there's a shift from, just sharing it rather than saying like, sign up, sign up, sign up. um,
Right, right, right. Well, the energy I got was just the holding the space. It was
yeah.
like the holding the space for like that expansion, as we expand our own peace, as we expand that energy. Yeah, that that's so different from the tip. I think when we looked at that other question I asked about A type versus sort of
Mhm.
being more in tune, and I really got sort of expansion versus contraction energy from that.
I know that for me, when I serve people or I'm working from a place of, I'm very aware when I'm working from a place of, and I want to kind of use word fear, but or love. And so from a loving place of just wanting to serve, and again, create space for people to show up perfectly, exactly as they are, is my intention. Not to fix. There's no fixing. Um, but just to share and be in a space of authenticity from a place of love and honoring when it is from a place of fear. And that's we're human.
So, going back to yoga, because I'm just guessing some of the people who tune in might want some of your yummy, yummy, juicy stuff. Um, if I haven't moved my body much in a while,
Mhm.
what do you recommend for people to get back into movement?
I would recommend just a gentle class. something where you're just moving. It doesn't have to be, intense power yoga. I really enjoy some of the asana practice, but I think weaving in, or the training that I have and the yoga that I lead is called pranatan, and it's weaving in all different koshas and all different layers. So, kind of making it more gentle and spiritual and connecting mind, body, and soul.
Hmm. Well, it was so much fun chatting with you. And if I wanted to find out more, how would I reach you?
You can check out my website, which is www.treeoflifecenters.com with an S at the end, Tree of Life Centers. Or you can email me at beth@treeoflifecenters.com. And I would be honored to share space with anybody out there who's willing to just show up.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.